All right, everyone. Hope you all can hear me loud and clear. Welcome to Multimodal Weekly. This is a virtual webinar series hosted by the team here at TwelveLabs. Context, we are a startup focusing on multimodal video understanding technology. This particular initiative has been happening on a weekly basis over the past 2.5 years or so. We tend to cover a variety of different topics on a weekly basis. Sometimes we have researchers coming in and talk about the latest interesting innovation happening in foundation models, multimodal AI. Oftentimes we have partners or like customer developers talking about different application multimodal in different verticals. Sometimes like community members, internal team members come in and share different projects that they build with our technology platform and API. Just to give a sample of some of the recent project, we actually hit milestone episode number 100 last week, which is great to showcase all the cool things that have been built with the community, right, over the past several years or so. But before that, we have a bunch of talks from like hackathon developers in different organizations. We'll talk from AWS on building partnership with TwelveLabs on Amazon Bedrock, etc. For today's session, I'm pretty excited to have 3 presenters who all of them actually came from a recent event that we did in New York early October, which is the Gen AI in Advertising Hackathon. So the context of all these 3 presentations, we focus on the utilization of multimodal video understanding for advertising and marketing use cases. The first speaker is going to be Danil. He will present his work called MomentMatch AI, which is an intelligent video ad placement platform that analyzes video content to identify optimal moments for advertisement insertion. Follow up, we'll have Daniel Meresenstri, who will present PulsePoint, a platform to help marketing teams feel the cultural and emotional pulse of the audience and act on it. Then we'll close off our webinar with David DC Collier and Milo. They will talk about their project called Story Insight, which is a testing methodology that answers why creative underperforms with the specificity required to improve it. So yeah, we have a full on show today for you all, and each session will go for about 15 minutes. After each speaker finish, we'll have a live interactive Q&A. And during the presentation, for the audience, you can also send message on the Zoom chat as well, so that they can answer asynchronously. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen and I will pass the mic to Daniel if you want to go ahead and get started.
Hey, James, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep, we'll see it.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for being here, and thanks, James, for having me at that hackathon a few weeks ago. So what I built within the context of an application that allows you to figure out where to place ads best in a video and what to put in those ads, I built something called MomentMatch AI. So we're using, of course, TwelveLabs to analyze videos, tell you where you want to put the ads, the quality of those ad placements, and even the products that that you should want to promote in those advertisements. So I've got a basic homepage here. It tells you about the application, the steps that it takes to do the analysis. We can enter. So I can upload a new video, but I'm going to select one because the processing is going to take a little while. So after you upload a video, it's going to do the processing inside of TwelveLabs. It's going to be able to generate clips and allow you to chat with the video. But so TwelveLabs has 2 important endpoints. It's got the Analyze API and it's got the Search API. The Analyze API essentially allows you to chat with the video and do video plus text to text, whereas the Search API is going to give you clips from your video. So after you've entered this screen where you can see the video that you've uploaded, you're presented with this analysis dashboard thing. You've got two different tabs that you can click here, one being brand mentions, one being add moments. The first one we're going to look at is actually add moments because this uses the search API. The search API is going to give us clips back that match certain certain topics that I told it to look for. That could be a service or tool demonstration, a technology or a gadget feature, fashion, style, or beauty content. So these things that might be important for ads. And then after you click on a moment, it's going to give you ad recommendations for that moment. So we've got this video. It's a vlog about a woman in her 30s in New York. And in this video, she talks about the way that she's budgeting. She's got this clip here. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear audio from my computer. Let's try it.
Oh, so I don't think we can hear it. You have to share your Zoom audio when you start sharing your Zoom setting. Maybe you can like stop screen sharing and then screen share again. And when you screen share, click the share audio button.
Well, I'll just mention that she said she was looking for a budgeting app for her
Okay.
lifestyle. That's all she said. And there's a screenshot of the app here. She's got a picture of her receipt. So she's talking about the fact that she wants to do some budgeting. So with 70% confidence, we realize that this is a technology or gadget feature. This confidence interval is returned natively from 12Labs. It's not like we pulled this out of the air. It tells us with 70% confidence, this clip matches a technology or a gadget feature. If I scroll all the way down here, I've got ad recommendations right in this moment. So within this moment, we could promote Mint, which is a personal finance app, another app called You Need a Budget, or Pocket Card, a simple budgeting app. So the way this works is I get a transcript from 12Labs for this clip. I've got the category that I told it to look for, and I pass that to ChatGPT with a web search tool. And it goes out and it looks for products that match the transcript and the topic that I told it to look for, and it returns me ad recommendations for that moment. I've got the actual link here. If I highlight on it, you'll see on the bottom left, it says mint.com. So I've got the actual link to the product, and it says that this is a 95% match, and that's something that ChatGPT returned me. So it says that within a 95% match based on this transcript and the category that you gave it, Mint would be a great recommendation for an ad to put in here. And the justification for that is here. The video mode focuses on the search for an app to track spending and budget. Mint is one of the most well-known free solutions. And I've got a bunch of ad moments here. I've also got this ad placement quality timeline. If I think that the ad is such a fantastic match, that's going to be a premium ad spot. And then if it's a low confidence match, it's going to be a basic ad spot. And then we've got standard ad spots for between 60 and 80% confidence interval. Actually, that's what that is. So that's using the search API. It's not that intelligent. It's just based on the transcript and what's happening in the video. It gives me a clip because I can't feed it like a whole massive prompt of what to look for. And that's where the Analyze API comes in. With the Analyze API, you can actually chat with your video using 12Labs. So what I do here is I gave it a prompt, something along the lines of, give me a list of all clips in the video that will be a really great place to put an advertisement. That could be high engagement or high emotion, high intensity. It could be a place where a specific brand was mentioned or a problem was discussed. And that's going to give me back some more clips and moments. If I click on it, it actually scrolls the video to that moment and it's generated another ad placement quality timeline. And now you can see there are premium ad placement spots here because of the confidence with which it found such a clip. The TwelveLabs returns me also a essentially a confidence interval to say, hey, this is going to be a great place to put an ad because it really is high energy. It really is a specific brand mention that you could mention right here. And so now I pass the actual context, like proper text context that TwelveLabs gives me back for that moment. And I pass that again to ChatGPT, the web search tool, and it gives me specific items that I could advertise within these moments. So you'll see in this premium ad spot, the woman discusses her nervousness about going back to school and the support she received from her audience. I mean, this could be a great moment for educational resource services. So it recommended Coursera Plus, Quizlet, and Chegg Study. That really would be a great place to mention these tools because it could make studying a lot easier. So now I've shown you what I've been able to do with the Analyze API in TwelveLabs, what I've been able to do with the Search API in TwelveLabs. I can export this report as a CSV, and it's going to list me, hey, here are the clips, here are all the items that we should advertise within those clips. And there's also a dashboard. In this dashboard, it's going to show me all the different ad spots, the estimated cost per ad placement based on industry standards, and all the different products that we could recommend within this video. And without going into too much detail about the statistics for which there's a justification here on each one, believe I'm going to wrap it up here.
Awesome. Is that a close of the demo?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Very interesting and insightful showcase of how the combination of our social analysis capabilities help with providing ad insights. I know for a fact that this exact UI that you're currently showing is one of the use cases that we got from customers, right? Getting high level analytics and insights on engagement on ads. So basically converting like combining qualitative and quantitative metrics together to come up with a good rationale on how effective an ad spot look like. Like throughout the process of building this project, what were some of the like more like challenges like that you encounter, right, in order to come up with an effective demonstration?
Thanks for the question, James. So I actually started out using the Search API, and that would just give me clips without much context. I could only tell you what was going on based on the transcript and the category that I told it to look for. The Search API is not that flexible in TwelveLabs. So I wasn't able to give it a proper natural language prompt about everything I wanted to look for. I had to give it a bunch of separate prompts, one for each category that I was looking for. So looking for technology mentions was one query. Looking for food or culture mentions was another query. Because if I tried to combine it all into one, it would look for a clip that mentioned both technology and food and culture. And so I realized that the quality of the ads that I could recommend wasn't going to be that great. And so that's when I moved into using the Analyze API. I was able to give it a proper natural language query and say, hey, give me all the clips that might match a great add placement spot.
Mhm.
I could also ask it to estimate the quality of that spot, and that allowed me to pass much more context to ChatGPT and get greater product recommendations for what I was doing. And another challenge I ran into was I cursored this whole thing pretty much. Not that I couldn't write it by hand, but um, I wouldn't have been able to do it in time. Um, and Cursor had trouble typing together some of the data processing. What I mean by that is I would get back data from the TwelveLabs API, the ChatGPT API, and the way that it processed the JSON was incorrect. So really all I had to do aside from prompting was go in and just sort of tweak the objects, tweak the object types that it was trying to break down. And tell it, hey, if you're going to look for a value that's like three fields deep, this actually starts with a capital letter, or it's actually not camel case like you think it is, but it's just one lowercase word or something along those lines. So those are some of the challenges I ran into. Just the data processing and struggling at first with the search API and then moving into the much more powerful analyze API.
Got it. So for talk about the Analyze API, maybe one more question before we move to the second presentation. But can you hover into one of these box, and I think it shows like some how you calculate it, right? Let's just go to one of those box. Yeah. Let's say average CPM range, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Zoom out here. Oh no. Okay, zoom out more. It still cuts it off.
it's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is calculation based on like the LLMs. Right, like it come up with a calculation and come up with
The
those numbers.
LLM, the LLM came up with this for sure.
Yep.
So each what's this, cost per milli, I think it is.
Mhm.
Um, let me move this little zoom box so I can read it. So the typical rate advertisers pay for each placement. So if it's a premium, there's a certain rate. If it's a basic ad spot, it's a different rate. The standard ads, if it's a standard
Got it.
ad spot, it's a different rate. So it's going to calculate a range for you within your specific video of how much ad placement should cost. Yeah, that's what it mentions. Average of all CPM values, which are based on industry standard rates by category. Oh, it also takes into account the category as well, which is pretty cool of the product
Yeah.
that we're mentioning.
Yeah, can you scroll out a little bit? I saw that there's premium spot, standard spot.
Hmm.
How did you, yeah, what determine this category? So like premium spot
Um,
is like higher engagement, like potential CPM, right? Like higher CPM.
yeah, so it's different with the search API and the analyze API. With the search API, the premium ad spot is based on the confidence with which it identified a clip.
Mhm.
So if I told it a food or culture reference, if somebody mentioned, "Hey, I love muffins so much," it's gonna go with like 90% confidence. So like, hey, this is a clip about muffins for sure.
Mhm.
Or rather about a food mention for sure. Um, and that's going to be considered a premium spot. With the search API, because I gave it a more flexible query, I told it to estimate the confidence with which it identified that spot, and it had to print me out that value as a part of the JSON that it returned. So that's essentially the confidence with which um, TwelveLabs decided that it could identify a clip in the Analyze API, based on, again, the high energy moment, specific brand mention, and things along those lines.
Great. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Daniel, for walking us through your demo and presentation.
Thanks, James.
Yep. Daniel, do you want to share the
Yeah,
screen?
sure thing. Sharing my screen now. All right. I was just looking for the widget to, oh, there you go. Can you see my screen presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. Thank you everyone who joined. Congratulations to all those who are presenting as well. Great projects so far. My name is Danil Mirashensky. I'm a data and AI engineer for a private equity fund. And together with my friend, who unfortunately couldn't make it today, but I'll present for the two of us. My friend Dylan Robinson, who is a senior software engineer working on quantum computing infrastructure. We were tasked with the problem of building on nimble solutions in the ad tech space. And we came up with PulsePoint, which is practically an AI-powered creative intelligence platform. And the best way to think about it is a solution to help uncover the pulse of audiences by fusing numbers, narratives, and video context in one centralized intelligence system. So with that in mind, the problem that nowadays ad analysis agencies and solutions are facing is that you pretty much descriptively know why something, what worked, right? What are some of the numericals, but you never know why, and you definitely don't have a prescriptive component telling you what could you do about it. So there's a gap, there's an opportunity, because brands invest millions in all sorts of analyses, pre-testing processes, and ultimately their efforts result into something that's fairly surface level, fragmented, and really difficult to act upon, right? So yeah, the challenges are simple, right? The challenges are mainly coming from three things. The data streams that are being analyzed are siloed. Separately, they might be able to paint some sort of insight, but come together, it's very difficult to really outline a correlation or really tie those. The other thing is that you're, again, missing the prescriptive component. You can't really map your insights back to a actionable step. And all of that together ultimately results into in a very slow iteration cycle on creative outputs by marketing and ad professionals. So what we thought would be great is that we would bridge those gaps. We would be able to create a platform that brands could leverage for all sorts of data and have a holistic view of qualitative, quantitative, video context data points. So the way we coined it as the analytical matrix, and the way it all fuses together is we were fortunate to work with a great startup called Swayable, which pretty much what they are building is a RCT platform where they do control tests. And what that yields is quantitative metrics that they have coming straight from the tests and ones that are being enriched through the platform, and qualitative feedback, right? So the different testing groups are ranking creatives ahead of their market release, giving very insightful and statistically relevant information. And then we're leveraging TwelveLabs to actually look at the creative and digest and dissect what is happening throughout the video. And then the glue is a OpenAI insight layer that ties all of these three separate data points together. So ultimately, what you end up receiving is a analytics matrix that points out strengths, weaknesses, recommendations that are tagged and are qualitatively relevant and speak exactly to the video at hand. So again, I kind of brief through it, but the pipeline is fairly simple. You have quantitative, qualitative metrics that are fed in from Swayable. Then TwelveLabs is analyzing the video itself. It has context of scene structure, audio tone, emotional trajectory. The glue is OpenAI to interpret all of these outputs. And then you get a timestamped relevant recommendation matrix. With that in mind, I will go into the demo. And an unfortunate forward that I have to make is that while it is a valiant effort, after the hackathon, we continued working on the solution and try to enhance it in any way possible. And actually, also a slight tangent there, we were very fortunate to be contacted by the Swayable team, and they offered their very helpful guidance and insight onto how we can improve the project and make it more relevant and more useful in this concept that we're trying to solve for. So that's been extremely helpful. We've implemented and acted on a ton of their feedback, and we're kind of having this back and forth with them. So that was great. However, the demo course is real, and some of the latest features that we pushed messed up some of the networking on the back end. And what you're seeing now is a slightly reverted version of the latest, but I'll talk through more exactly what does that entail. So without further ado, this is our solution. To cut time, we've already preloaded some videos, some analysis was ran, but this is the interface. James, you could attest, you were there for the demo. We made a little bit of a pivot from the initial interface, which I'll also showcase later and explain why the pivot was made. But what you're looking at here is a segmentation of different categories in the audience, and then a ability to analyze this specific segment and tie it to the context of the ad that is being analyzed. So while we're looking at some of these analyzed segments, let's trigger another segmented analysis for a group. So once we click into what we call node, the node being an audience group ranging from the age of 18 to 34 for a quantitative metric of emotional response being love, how much they love the ad, you could see a very nuanced and detailed breakdown of what the quantitative data is suggesting. Then it shows you a sample of qualitative feedback and basically what do people say in natural language about the ad. And then the crux of the solution is really then being able to take in TwelveLabs' capability to holistically analyze and look at what is happening in the video. What does the data suggest? what are the people saying, what's the word of the street, or whatnot, and then give you some recommendations. Here we can see that the opening scene with the man dancing captured attention. All the transition to the phone's features reinforced its appeal, and then it highlights some weaknesses, strengths, and very practical recommendations. So this way, professionals in the marketing and ad space could really act on all of this insight. Here's, by the way, another node that was processed, so we can see how there's even more insight that's generated across different audience segments. Let me go back to the slides, and I'll expand a little bit on the demo. So the latest version includes some very nimble ranking that basically highlights most relevant segments to look at. So you pretty much, the users won't have to either wait for the entire pipeline to complete and analyze all of these nodes, or kind of be scattered in their analytics, right? Immediately, based on a numerical coefficient for a given metric, which you could see here on the left. It would rank the most impacted, the most relevant segments numerically. So then you could go in and, for example, see that for this ad, on the emotional response love metric, the African American community who have a high intent to purchase a smartphone have reacted the most, right? Have the highest coefficient. This is what our interface used to look like. It was this web tree-like interface, which is also something that we intended to keep. But the reason why we pivoted is the Swayable team actually gave us a really interesting insight into kind of assessing the typical customer's experience, that perhaps traversing through all of these webs is not the most efficient into garnering insight right off the bat. So a more comparative, ranking-like interface is of more help. So hence, we pivoted to something like this, and perhaps are willing to keep this as a secondary interface. Another more expanded example that is, we could think of as something very tangible. In an imagined scenario where you have two creatives, two ads, advertising to a specific audience, and let's say that's a luxury product aimed for high net worth individuals. The caveat is that high net worth individuals may look very differently across your audience. Let's say you have a presence in the US and you have a presence in Middle East, and your ad accidentally or not is including alcohol. So immediately you see how this slip up will cause a decline in brand reputation amongst the Middle East audience. So perhaps basically what would that fix look like? The platform will catch on this nuance and make a suggestion of perhaps replacing the scene where the alcoholic beverage, the hard liquor beverage, is being consumed, and suggest for a lighter beverage like coffee or juice, right? So this would really make no influence on performance in the US, but would most certainly have a better brand favorability in the Middle East. So things like this could save a lot of time, money, effort, brand reputation for teams. To touch on a couple of enhancements that we have in store and in vision for this platform is we would want to maybe release a feature where on suggestions that are being made, on recommendations, there will be a generated video to almost like serve as a teaser to what an enhancement might be, right? And it will give you this like what if testing, rapid experimentation view. And for that, we're actually thought of considering also the Morengo model from TwelveLabs that would allow us to parse through a vast amount of indexed videos with a specific kind of token that is derived from a recommendation, right? So this will allow us to sample a better set of videos for a generated video. Then we'll work on integrating with the ecosystem, with different ecosystem more seamlessly, right? So now we're manually kind of pointing to the swayable data, to the indexed video. So maybe there's certainly a more nimble automated integration cycle that can be devised. So that's definitely something that we'll look to do. There are different levels in the professionals who would be using such a platform, right? Somebody who is creative, working more specifically on the ads themselves, or a marketing executive who is just looking to kind of assess the relevancy and the process on a higher level. So maybe they're not as interested to look through the numbers as scrupulously as a creative, an ad creator would be. So we'll be able to create extractable briefings / reports that are geared towards different functions. Currently, the ranking component that I've mentioned earlier is simply based on the numbers, but numbers are not necessarily representative of kind of impact, of weight of impact. So something that's very important to do is to make sure that you bin and label the weight of these rankings more attentively, right? So you would have to revise this numerical differentiation value that is driving the ranking. So as also displayed, we will make sure that this ranking and comparison engine is working properly. The other thing we thought of is, again, because there's so many different professionals that would be using this tool, it is perhaps a good idea to have different modes into how the platform is analyzing the creatives. So you would have an ideation mode where the sole purpose of the AI is to give you a more polished creative direction. You would have a test mode where the AI would just go back, revert, and validate against your target audiences. Analysis mode where perhaps your AI is more geared around picking up on interesting insights in your creatives. And then another addition that is likely like a low-hanging fruit these days is create a knowledge-based chat where all of this insight is being propagated into a RAG layer, a knowledge base, and then allow users to chat against it and query different thoughts off of it. So ultimately, the aim of PulsePoint is to transform, right? We'll go from static descriptive information to dynamic insights, to automated creative production cycles. That's our vision. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate your very detailed walkthrough of the PulsePoint application. I think due to time constraint, we'll probably not be able to have any interactive Q&A, but if the audience have any question, you can put that in the chat for Daniel to answer. Yeah, overall, I know this is a very important use cases we got like from customer in the ad space, right? So turning this quantitative insight into a digestible format, right? Ranking information demographics from the end users, especially the ad agencies. I think that come time and time again. So I do think there's a high commercial value on what you're putting here.
Thank you so much, James. And another special thank you to you for allowing us to compete in the hackathon, for inviting us to this webinar. Really is a great experience, and thank you very much. I'll be following up with everyone on the Discord channel that you've pointed us to, and we're planning to continue working on this. So happy to continue the conversations around it and answer any questions people might have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve. All right. Also, you want to stop sharing your screen so that Milo and David to start go ahead with your presentation. I think you guys are muted.
Yeah, DC, you're muted.
Trying to find the unmute button.
And just to let you know, I have to drop off at 1:25 EST, but DC will run the show. I'll just support him.
Sounds good. Okay, I finally found the mute button. I feel like such a techno weenie here. Yeah, so this was from the hackathon that we did here in New York at BetaWorks, which was a lot of fun. And I'm just going to run, we don't have a presentation, we just have what was built basically over the weekend. So this is a tool to help you analyze and kind of remix and storyboard creatives and commercials. So we worked with, I think it was TwelveLabs that provided a number of existing videos that had been analyzed from, I think, various clients. So I don't think you can hear the audio here, but there's basically this Bud Light commercial that was taken. And the idea was how to make it more interesting to different types of audiences. So what you can do here is basically we use the API, TwelveLabs, to go through and find all the cutscenes, analyze it basically frame by frame. And then on top of that, we analyzed all the different characters that appeared in the video. And what we've done is we've created like a virtual panel. So you have these different people, both the professionals like the director, as well as just potential audience members. And there's quite a kind of variety of different people here. We've got like an old retiree and like a blue collar guy. And so you can get more details on any of these people by saying like, who is Jim? And he's like a blue collar construction guy. So what we can do now is step through this video. So basically, let's say the first scene in that video was trying to set the scene that there's like a high temperature. It's a little bit unclear what's in the background here. So you could ask, maybe we've got Aja, one of our kind of urbanites, and ask her what she thinks about it. And she says, why don't we put a child wiping sweat in the background or something? So you can take these insights or take basically the audience feedback. This is probably a terrible idea for most creatives, because this is how we end up with getting a horse designed by a committee as a camel. Now we're going to like change the scene, and we've put this kid in the background, which does resonate. Probably not good for an alcohol commercial, but there we go. And so now you're seeing the kind of the real-time changes of all the responses. Let's say go through to some of the next scenes. We've got a guy in a cowboy hat here. Let's say if we wanted to, and Bud Light had this big disaster with not appealing to their core audience. But let's change it to drag queen to make it a little bit more vivacious. And then you can ask everybody's opinion. And so our blue collar guy, Jim, really didn't like that one. So you can ask him specifically what he thinks about that scene. Show a rancher or something like that. All right, we can go with a rancher. And so basically you're editing these individual scenes, and then we're using Nano Banana. So we basically modify the commercial in place, and we create these reference images. Let's just get everyone's opinion on that one. And the idea is that we're actually creating a revised version of the script and storyboard. So let's just gather a new version of the story and analyze that up a little bit and see what the basic the structure and the deeper. I don't know if you want to talk to this, Milo, but behind the scenes, as well as our cast of panelists, we also have a lot of other analysis going on like the emotional intent, the story structure, and I'll just generate some insights as well. Don't know if you recall, Milo, what we were working on here with regard to the insights and the other layer of analysis that's going on. So it's not just the kind of what's going on in the movie, but it's like, you know, the deeper why, basically.
Yeah, I mean, typically in focus groups, which I've been participating in for the last 20 plus years with lots of M&Ms, you know, we don't have the luxury of having experts in the room giving us a play-by-play during those focus groups. And so imagine you have a sociologist, you have an ethnographer, you have a psychologist, you have all different types of people in there doing a play-by-play analysis of what's happening in there, so you can have a better understanding of the work, have a better understanding of what you need to do to make it better and flow better when it finally reaches a real audience.
Yeah. And so based on a few of the scenes here, I can go through and just edit a few more scenes. Like we've got a group of people, like guy on a hammock. Maybe you could also ask the panel for ideas on that, but why don't we have him like writing I always like to put a little bit of activity, or how about like, I don't know, driving F-150, since we're being a little bit stereotypical about our Bud Light audience. So what it does, cars and beer, what it does there is actually allows you to modify the scenes, and then it will give you a storyboard. And so these are the new scenes that we made. And one of the things that we can then do is then use that new storyboard to actually generate like a focus group, like a tester video, using Sora or VO3, basically. I'm not going to do that because it takes a little bit of time. But the fundamentals are that you can use this real-time panel, get feedback. Maybe it's not as great feedback as you might get from real humans, but it's a lot quicker, and it allows you to iterate quickly and test new ideas. And then you know, the problem with a lot of generative video is that you can generate all these short clips, but they don't flow together. They don't have an overarching story. They don't have, you know, the beginning, middle, and end that you might need to a commercial. And so this allows you basically to put the whole thing together. And you can also go in and edit the shot types and all of those kind of things. So you can very quickly specify a whole bunch of individual clips, and then it will stitch it together into a meaningful whole. Yeah, so that's pretty much the demo. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. I don't know, James, if you have any other comments that you want to put in here.
Yeah, well, thanks again for walking over it. I think Milo's already left, but I really like the interface that you built here, right? Like all the tab on the left side. It very much bring like a editor workflow, which you know, I'm sure it's gonna resonate quite well with the creative audience. In terms of the video generation approach, how did you Can you double click on that details? How did you switch actors on the screen to make it?
Yeah, basically, it is through prompting. So if we have any particular scene, well, we have a list. We have a scene like this. Say the guy jumping into a hammock. You could say instead you could say jumping into a bouncy castle, and then I have a bunch of like meta prompting stuff in the background so that we try and keep the other parts of the scene description, and we just modify the relevant parts. So if it was a man jumping into a hammock, then it, and falling into the grass, several people are sitting nearby. The modified prompt would just be kind of like a section of it will be modified, not the whole scene. And should also update the image, but that doesn't seem to be. I guess it's like a hackathon. It's got a little bit buggy. And then we do have like effectively a diff script. So when it just shows you the scenes that you updated. So that's for that particular scene. Yeah.
Awesome. Can you click into the cast feature?
Yeah. So the cast is basically the analysis of the characters that are in the story. And then we also have feedback, like how different people like all of these different characters. So, the man in the hammock seems to be pretty universally liked, maybe not by our teenager as much, our urban teenager. But basically, yeah, you could change the cast member and then get feedback. So the cast and the panel are different. The cast are the people in the commercial, and the panel are the people that are in the focus group, basically reacting to who's in the panel, basically. Yeah. And then you can filter. So, in future we might have a panel design screen. So you could say, I just want to focus on rural blue collar people, or I just want to focus on like urban hipsters. And then it generates a fairly three-dimensional story behind them. If you just have the stats of the demographics, it's the responses are not that interesting. But we did build it out a little bit more of like, what's their job, what do they care about, all of those kind of like values. So we give the whole context of the character when we're asking for feedback. But yeah, like the whole thing around synthetic panels is kind of a very deep rabbit hole. But I think we got enough here to interact in real time with it, and both in chat. And you can ask just one person by clicking this little ask button. And then, just being able to take is nice because you can instantly update the feedback without having to kind of type in what they said and stuff like that. But yeah, if you try and please all the people all the time, you're probably not going to please anyone. So that's a good way to corrupt your creative script if you get driven too much by what all of this feedback is. But again, it's like a creative tool. If you carefully construct the panel, then the feedback that you're going to get is probably also going to be more useful for the product. Yeah.
Awesome. Last question I have is, can you show the difference between story and storyboard on the left sidebar?
Yeah. Story is the kind of overarching analysis of the storyline. The storyboard is really just scene by scene, kind of like a shot list that you would give to your director of photography or your AI generator, which is kind of just more technical, like what's the location, shot type, like duration of the shot, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like a shot list that you give if you're actually doing it. Whereas the story is more like the emotional intent, the story structure, narrative, pacing, character, coherence, that kind of thing. More like the the writers kind of what they were going for when they're trying to get this story across. I mean, this particular Bud Light ad, when you analyze it, there's like a whole bunch of people having mistakes and tripping up and falling out of hammocks. And then when they crack open a Bud Light, suddenly everything goes wonderfully and it's a nice, happy summer's day, basically. So it's got that kind of underlying narrative arc, basically, which is different than just the individual shots that are there. And then the details actually allow you to go in, and we kind of, it's like taking unstructured data and turning it into structured data. So you can go in and modify, maybe it's not a lawn, maybe it's like inside a nightclub or something like that. So basically, you can edit it in a structured way, as well as just editing it from a prompt. But yeah, some of this is not quite completed. Like I think the UI is there, but it's not quite linked to the back end. Yeah, and then the history just shows where you updated things. So it's kind of like a diff of the story, and then you could undo or redo certain things if you want. Probably too many different ways of looking at the data here. Like one of the things you often do in a hackathon is just throw mud at the wall and see what people like, and then kind of filter it down when you actually take it into production.
Yeah.
But yeah, the power of vibe coding. I mean, all this was done in one furious night, basically, by one person.
Did you go over the storyboard feature?
Yeah, the
Storyboard.
storyboard. Yeah. Yeah, the storyboard is basically there's scene by scene each of the different moments that are in the movie. So we used I think your TwelveLabs API originally to do scene detection, scene change detection, and then we used it to analyze the video and get all of the details of each of those scenes. So it's a description of the scene, the actor, like the shot, if it's a close-up or a long shot. There's not really motion detection in here, so if it was a zoom and stuff like that, we couldn't quite detect that. But we list out the props that are in the scene, so you can give this to your crew basically to get everything ready to shoot these. And then we also do have it as a prompt list, and so this is what would be you could give to a video generator basically, along with the reference images. So this is obviously a live action storyboard, so the reference images just look like live action, and when you edit them with Nano Banana or whatever, I think I reloaded the screen so it resets some of them, but if you edit it with Nano Banana, it keeps the original style of the images, and just you can edit things in place, right? So like if this guy is, I don't know, wearing a frog suit, it would just update, or maybe I should have just changed his hat, actually. That would have been a better example. But it allows you then to keep those reference images, and then when you use the AI generator like VO and certain APIs allow you to provide reference shots as well. So if the original content was like an anime version, or it had a particular texture or style or look to it, you could maintain that look and just modify the elements, basically. That's the goal. And I think for a lot of creative now, it burns out very quickly, especially on social media. So this would allow you to generate like 50 different creators, but still keep it on message, basically. So you could rotate a lot of different kind of material without boring your audience, basically seeing the same thing over and over. Yeah. So there we go. No more brand disasters, hopefully, if they use this in a way that doesn't muzzle creativity too much. You don't want to over test stuff, but maybe it's a way of collaborating with your audience. I mean, it would also be kind of fun to make it a consumer thing, so people could remix other people's content as well. So it's not just the brand top down modifying it, but it's individuals kind of forking the creative and being able to create multiple versions of the material and then send it back to the brand or whatever. Yeah. So I don't want to overrun my time here, but I don't think it's quite. I'm not sure if it's sharing the URL, but people are welcome to try it out. Hopefully, it won't use too many credits. That's why the video is disabled. But the images are all just there using the Gemini API, so it should be good for people to play around with if they like.
All right. Thanks, DC. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great. I know for sure that this experiment you build is pretty relevant for some of the work that we do internally. So be sure to share your application with some of the folks internally and on our team as well, so that can take a look, right? We definitely target the creatives, professionals as an audience. So I think some of these ideas that you present here could be very valuable for us to, as we think about the UI, UX application layer of our technology. All right, thanks everyone. Appreciate your time today. Thanks to speakers for preparing your slide and demos. The recording of this session should be available on YouTube probably by this weekend. So be sure to share that on our channel. And yeah, for the next few weeks, we have a couple more hackathon project studies. So you find this interesting, good luck to have you come back and enjoy the session. Cheers, everyone, and hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Cheers.
You have a good
Thanks,
one.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.